unmute me, unmute you. Hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Rotten Movie Reviews. Today, we are reviewing The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, a 2013 movie comedy, basically parodying the... Oh, God, I can't remember the freaking gay... Siegfried and Roy and Chris Angel. Those things for having that. And it does star Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi to be the Siegfried and Roy type people, but they're not gay and they're not lion tamers. They're just magicians. And then Jim Carrey playing the antagonist of a Chris Angel knockoff. I don't even remember who introduced me to this movie several years ago. Honestly don't. I just remember laughing my ass off. And I said, we needed a palate cleanser. Is our palate cleansed?
Yes, it is.
But from there...
That was wonderful.
Because I kind of went off the rails like I always do and just go into things. I should have introduced my fellow co-hosts. We got Tier Alexander. How you doing today?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Oh, not so bad. We got with us Angela. How you doing, dear?
Doing all right. I wonder if Bert and Anton could get me my hour back.
And round out, I should say squaring out this whole quadrangle, would be James Colley. How you doing, James?
Oh, not too terribly bad yet. And your hour
And we'll
is
switch
gone.
over to that.
Deal with it.
Forever.
Well, it's changes over to that, going through those things. There's been something I've been mean to look up. But go ahead and give your review while I need to look up something real quick.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, I guess that puts me at the crosshairs. I had a blast. It was super fun. I spent half of the movie hating Steve Carell and all of the movie hating Jim Carrey. But Adam Arkin was a wonderful treat.
Adam or Alan?
Alan. I know I said Adam.
Anyone else?
I guess I'm the only one that didn't like this movie. From start to fucking finish, I hated this movie. And it's because it's in that same vein of... granted, it's not Ben Stiller and Blondie, what's his name?
Oh, the guys who did
Owen
Zoolander.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that comedy team, but it's cut and paste, simple, stupid humor. You know? Just didn't like it. I mean, they're trying to spoon feed you jokes that it just seems cringe, and it just makes it all seem cringe, you know?
Well, it's meant to be a stupid turn your brain off comedy, but I mean, yeah, it does follow pretty much a trope and a trope and oh god, what's the fucking word for it? Playbook,
recipe?
basically. Recipe, yeah, playbook recipe. Yeah. But a lot of things do that.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, and like I said, for me, it just didn't work. I mean, yes, I can understand. I'm so famous, I can get someone to be my assistant mid-show. Enter in Olivia Wilde.
Mm-hmm.
But to sit there and just, okay, you're trapped in a box together with swords being thrown into the box. By the way, hey, you want to screw later?
Well, like he said, for him, it was something he'd been doing every day, basically, for 10 years. He's used to it.
Yeah.
That
But-
was literally just to give you an idea of exactly what kind of an asshole he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like, the characters weren't necessarily meant to be liked all too much.
You weren't even supposed to necessarily think that was funny. That was just supposed to gear you up to hate him. To line him up as what he was at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Which was the dickhole that forgot what magic was about.
Mm-hmm.
Glitter. Tier, there's something wrong with your mic, dude.
Yep, well, at least it's not me having mic issues.
Every time I try this with my computer, it always does something. Oh well.
Sorry,
But-
did
I think-
you try to say something at some point?
He was trying to say something the whole time I was speaking.
I was saying that the character was like you said, Angela. The guy, Steve Carell's character, Anton, is meant to be a dick. Like it shows his growth in the end. Like if you look at him, even his costume has changed. He, instead of having that dumbass costume, he's in a suit and tie. He doesn't look like a showman. He looks like just like a normal person. You know, so it showed growth. Like it's a movie with an actual character arc in development. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
exactly what I liked about it. Why it didn't. Okay, plus magic, because I am that nerd girl that loves magic. The shut up, James.
I got a trick I want to show you at some point.
Ah, lordy, lord.
But you did see, okay, he wanted the magic to get popularity because he thought popularity was going to be what made him happy. So he lost track of what the magic actually was about,
Well,
which was
if you look-
fun and wonder.
well, yeah,
you
it
know?
was the fun and wonder, but it wasn't just to make him popular. It was to make it so he wouldn't necessarily be hated. Because when they first introduced him as a child, everyone at school basically that he knows hates him. Though his mom likes him, she's never there because she's constantly working. I mean, it was his fucking birthday, and she couldn't even go through and bake him the cake before she went to work. Instead, she left him to bake the cake for himself, and he still had to go buy ingredients for it.
The really bad part, that is very definitely a Jewish kid, and
Ha!
that was his 13th birthday.
So it was his bar mitzvah.
Yes,
Oof.
that is rough.
Can you imagine if the rabbi would have left him instructions to do his own bris?
That was almost as bad as my Sweet 16, which
Oh,
I
Lord.
sat at home by myself watching horror movies while my family went out and played bingo.
Wow.
Whoa,
That,
Angela, my heart goes out to you.
Well, see, and that whole thing, for him, yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, though, for most guys, once you get past that certain age, unless you have predominantly pretty well off parents, your birthdays really don't matter until you're 18, 21, 25, and then no one gives a shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
I could kind of say 16, but 16 is only important to you and your friends because it's when you're probably going to get your driver's license. But otherwise, 18 because you're technically considered an adult, 21 because you can drink, 25 because your car insurance goes down again, and you can technically rent a car legally because for some odd reason, for 7 years prior, you couldn't rent a car because obviously reasons. And
That's why it was very specific that he was Jewish.
yeah. That's why I said,
Yeah.
typically after that certain thing, there aren't many birthdays after that anyone's going to care about.
Well, they don't really give a damn until, your friends care about your 30th birthday, the Dirty 30. And then when you hit 40, and then every 10 years after that, because then you're over the hill.
Well, then apparently I missed something because... Fuck. That was,
But the Dirty 30 didn't become a thing until the 2000-ish.
Well, because it'd been 2016 when I turned 30. And... Where was I?
So 16.
I was still in the military, but I don't remember if I was in Clovis, New Mexico. I don't think I was in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh no!
Oh, if you turned 30 and was
No.
in Clovis,
No. Oh, I was in Clovis, New Mexico, because that was when I was trying to figure out whether or not I'd still be in the military because I had lost rank, and because of losing rank, I wasn't grandfathered in, so I could only stay in for a total of 10 years as a senior airman at that time, unless I made staff sergeant again, which I ended up making staff sergeant again. Hey, what's up, Johnny?
Yo, Hellcat.
what's up?
But
yeah.
Because we're losing
Let's
rank.
put it this
damn
way.
it.
to basically go back to the movie and the whole thing.
The
I mean,
point is, it was a shitty way
Yeah.
to spend your coming of age.
Oh yeah,
It really was.
I mean, yeah, for girls, if you're Spanish, it's 15. If you're any
Quinceañera.
other race or whatever, it's 16.
well, typically if you're white,
Unless
It's,
you're Ottoman, and then
it's like it's 16 because that's usually when you're going to get your driver's license, depending on where you live. So rural area, yeah, you're going to want a vehicle.
For a girl, it was your debut.
Otherwise, like if you're in a more urban area to where public transport's more available, 16 basically can come and go, and it's not going to matter until you're 18 because having a vehicle can be irrelevant if you're in a place with good public transportation.
Like I said, yeah. Like for me, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant now.
well, like I said. But as far as yeah, I can understand the kid end as far as using magic to be admired and revered as an escape, and because his bully told him that he'd never be liked.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes this unlikable prick. But he made the obvious choice to become an unlikable prick.
Well, because he didn't think he was an unlikable prick. He fell into the same trap so many other people have when they get famous, and it's they think they're above everything. Like
I got money now.
reading some stories and whatnot of how people have been like, oh, how certain celebrities are like Kevin James, the fat white guy who typically does a lot of Adam Sandler movies anymore, always looks so approachable, so nice and everything, but apparently someone like once met him at a restaurant and his response was, why are you talking to me?
The fuck?
Yeah.
It's like James Corden. James Corden seems so affable. Just like Ellen DeGeneres, but they're fucking cunts.
Yeah. It's kind of like certain pretty people that they think because they're pretty that everything's just going to do what everyone's just going to do whatever they want for them. And Hellcat, I don't know if you deleted that message that's like saying, and if you're black, it's when your dad gets back with the smokes. Because, ouch.
Yeah, that's usually a great one too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but they do think everyone loves him. It's that whole thing of they got put onto a pedestal, and that's the character he was playing. I mean, It's similar to Zoolander. It's similar to a lot of these movies that have a typical thing of the famous person who's seems to be at the height of their fame, and then they crash and burn, and they have to have a redemption arc. Yeah,
I didn't see it until I switched over to live chat. That's
the weird part
Joey.
is I'm on live chat on both chats, but only in my OBS chat am I seeing that one. So
Oh, I'm so
That's alright.
that
I see it.
I don't know, man. Shit's weird sometimes. We're gonna try
And
something.
that's by the way, he only comes back with the smokes if he's in a Division I school.
Or
Fixing to go in.
he gets a scholarship for football.
Yeah. It's got to be Division I.
And you gotta remember that if he doesn't, things don't work out, he has to blame the white parents that adopted him. Oh wait, we're not talking about Kaepernick.
Ooh, ouch! Shots across the bow.
I'm not wrong.
Fuck
Fuck
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. And I'm black. Fuck him. Last great thing Ray Lewis ever did from the Ravens was tell him not to fucking sign him. Because it was too much fucking trouble.
I still will say though, my favorite part in the whole movie is after Steve Buscemi and Steve Carell reconcile and get past the whole overly emotional thing. I thought it was kind of funny, but it got played out really fast.
Yeah.
When they were going over the whole, we're going to make the whole audience disappear by using a drug that knocks them out for an hour. So you think this batch is done? Let's check it. Drops the pot lid back down, falls over, slowly gets back up. So you think the batch is ready? I don't know. Let's check it.
Alright, if they'd established early that there's some memory loss using it, then it would have been fine. That bit would have been okay. But they never established that. You should have known the moment you checked it. Oh yeah, we just checked it.
Well, they did kind of establish that when they were talking about it in the thing when he was delivering magic.
Well, see,
it's just they were
the thing.
going through and trying to figure out how to do it to where it wouldn't have a shit ton of memory loss or whatnot. Because it was like they said, they were kind of going through to try to get it right.
Yeah, but like I said, they tried and this is a recipe where they spoon feed you the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like how they explained the trick at the end, just before the credits end, where they just toss a motherfucker under the goddamn truck. That is so fucking funny.
But what I liked about that whole thing was the Alan Arkin bit.
Huh?
Oh yeah, Alan Arkin was good.
Where he was talking about where he's in the actual show.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
That
awesome.
was so good.
Yeah,
Watching
that
him go from 70s age to his old self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still
was
like
a
that.
treat.
I mean, it was dumb, but the whole final disappearing act, I thought it'd been funnier if, after throwing the smoke, he'd have been, trotting out of the room and, you basically catch a glimpse of old man ass instead of hiding under the bed. I think that would have been funnier.
You know what? Would have been funnier?
I think that would have been kind of cheap, actually.
That was the point. It's meant to be cheap because that's why it's instead he basically fell and tried to hide underneath the bed.
The parts
they could have left that.
confirmed.
Oh yeah, the parts about Kevin James. Yeah. But it's they kind of force-fed the joke, or I shouldn't say force-fed the joke, but played it too long by having him hide under the bed. They could have completely cut that and been had Olivia Wilde being he's hiding under the bed, and you've been just go with it. They didn't have to show him.
Yeah.
I wanted him to die. Don't get me wrong, great character. But had he done the trick and passed on, that would have been a great send-off.
Oh, basically like throw the smoke bomb, but instead of being in his robes, he's in his suit to be buried in.
Yeah, like he's ready to go.
Yeah, do a quick change. Yeah, that would have been cool.
You know, I mean, I get it. It's a comedy, and they played it up, and I like how he came back at the end to do that, to do his part in the big stage production. It's a fucking great thing, but
Yeah.
again, the quick change and die. No, he played the mentor role in the hero's journey.
Yeah.
So, and usually in that, the standard arc is the mentor dies to spur the hero on. So, I think he should have died.
Well, for that, it's usually you have to have someone the person cares about. So honestly, in anything, it actually would have made more sense in a way to have Steve Buscemi's character die, since they'd have had a longer, like a reconciliation, then die. Because, you know, they'd have that longer connection than he had with Alan.
True. Again,
And
Buscemi was fucking hilarious in this one.
other than for most of the stuff, like, honestly, I'm just gonna say it flat out, like most movies Jim Carrey's playing Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, there are some roles that Jim Carrey played well.
Oh, I loved
Robotnik.
him in Kick-Ass 2.
I loved him in fucking The Grinch. He played the Grinch perfectly.
I didn't mind him in that one. I mean, granted, it's an old movie, and so it has the sentimental stuff in it. I still really liked him in the first Ace Ventura. I can understand why in a lot of things he doesn't like doing sequels. Considering the fact, if you look back at it, Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, is a terrible movie.
No. Ace Ventura Jr. is a fucking terrible movie.
Oh, that's a straight up atrocity.
Yeah, that
It
is.
has none of the charm of the first Ace Ventura or the second one. It is a terrible, terrible movie. It should not exist. The second Mask movie shouldn't exist, and I'm glad Jim Carrey wasn't in that one. That was an abomination.
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy fucked himself on that one.
Yep, that literally tanked his career.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Granted,
again,
I did not hate him in the 2 Tremors movies he was in.
I didn't know he was in 2 Tremors movies.
Didn't
Yes.
he play the son?
We're gonna leave it.
Burt.
We're gonna leave it a mystery for now, in case we go over that series, because I like that series.
I
Oh, yeah,
really
we gotta do that.
love to do the Tremors movies.
My favorite part of that whole thing. Best line ever spoken was,
Fuck you! Sorry, I could go with
I
that.
don't think that's ever happened.
Oh, from the second one, I'm
Yeah.
completely out of ammo. That's never happened.
Honestly, I've only seen the first one. And
Ooh.
I've seen it ages ago.
Hell, I'm almost tempted to say, if you want to go away from the Nicolas Cage stuff for a couple weeks, we can go through the Tremors series, then go back to Nick Cage, unless we're wanting to do the Tremors TV show on top of that. Because I have all of the Tremors movies and TV show on DVD.
I would
Really?
say,
Yes.
if we're going to do that, let's do the first 3 and have a palate cleanser.
What palate cleanser of what?
Well, you know, just to break up the monotony.
Just something to throw in to break up it being the same thing.
Well,
Unless
why don't
we
do the first 3 Tremors and then
Or-
another Nicolas Cage, because he has a long
Or-
filmography.
We
And
can
then
do
more
a
Tremors.
Nick Cage movie, since we've done this one next week. Then we'll do a Tremors movie, Nick Cage movie, Tremors movie. We can go back and forth.
That works
Okay.
even better.
That works.
Okay, that gives us a little bit of a stuff to go through and gives me time to look up stuff. I don't even know what I'm going to look up. I'm probably just going to get pictures of graboids for the frickin' thing and just let those go the entire damn time.
Poor man's Dune Shahaloots.
You know, the first Tremors is pretty good because it has Reba McEntire in it.
Doesn't it have Kevin Bacon in it?
Yep.
Yes, it did. And Burt Ward.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name.
And the girl from Jurassic Park.
Which
one?
Lexi from Jurassic Park. Ariana something.
And it's such a great movie because they don't frickin' go through and show the monster too much.
Right.
Well, I'd imagine that had to be a
Oh
fucking
god,
logistical
don't!
nightmare.
It looks like they're fucking remaking it. I mean, granted, they're bringing back Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Oh, Fred Ward. Burt Ward was Boyd Wonder.
Oh, Fred Ward rumored, but apparently it's a television reboot of the film Tremors. And god damn it!
If they're gonna, if long as they throw a tranny into a graboid's mouth, I'm all for it.
Oh, no.
Just chuck one. Just grab it by the back of its neck and just throw it in there. I will praise this movie as the best thing ever. If they
I'm
do
just a little annoyed because, like, I like the first movie. It had a great cast because, you know, you have Michael Gross. Like, I understand he's older and can't really do it. But, like, the dude who played Melvin, the chick who played Nancy, the guy who played Miguel, and the chick who played Mindy, they all make a recurrence in the third movie.
Yes. And Mindy is actually Lexi from Jurassic Park.
Ariana Richards.
Oh, his granddaughter.
And
Yes.
Victor Wong's dead.
Oh, the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
because they have his... I think it's his granddaughter in that takes over the shop.
Yeah.
Egg Chin. I loved Egg Chin.
Just, I don't know why they gotta go and fucking plausibly reboot. Well, apparently it was a TV show for 2018, straight on fucking sci-fi.
Mm.
And I'm irritated now. I didn't tell you to go back. Oh.
But how many goddamn Tremors movies are there?
7.
A lot.
Because you have the first 3, which are off that one, and you have the 4, which is the prequel, and you have 5, which is Bloodlines, 6, which is A Cold Day in Hell, and then 7, which is Shrieker Island, and then you have the TV series.
Yeah.
I have not seen, I think, 4 and 5.
I've seen the first
The
one. but
only
not-
one I have not watched the TV show, and I have not watched Shrieker Island. But I don't care. I'm always down to go through and go over Tremors.
Oh, yeah. Tremors is a great movie. It's campy, but it's not spoon feeding you.
The first one is a actual horror movie. The second one is a little more on horror comedy. Third's going into a bit more comedy because it's following predominantly Burt Gummer. And then the rest just kind of stick with the horror comedy.
Yeah.
I have a love hate with horror comedies.
Well, it's not like as far of a horror comedy like Evil Dead 2.
Love Evil Dead 2.
And I love Evil Dead 2 as well. It's more of like getting closer to like a cross section of, in a way, I would say like kind of Evil Dead 2, but getting closer to like Army of Darkness without that much action.
I would say, but if you notice, they all follow a similar formula, but it's not dumbed down or watered down humor. If you look at the Freddy movies, really serious, dark, nefarious, straight up, I'm going to cut your throat out.
Well, that was the first one and kind of the second, I want to say.
Yeah.
But keep going. I'm going to go grab a drink real quick.
And then you get into the other sequels where it's like, okay, yeah, let's hype him up and make him a smart ass and make it a little more funny. Then you get into the horror comedy.
But so horror comedy isn't bad. Again, I have a love-hate with that genre. Like, I love the Freddy movie. It made no sense after the first one, but whatever.
I disagree. The first one and the third one were fantastic. They were wonderful bookends. The second one
Which series?
should not have existed. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hmm.
The second one was just filler. They couldn't figure out what the hell they were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And
if
then
you know,
they turned around and got the third one, and they pulled their heads out of their asses, and it was a wonderful. I loved it. And then all of a sudden they were like, "Well, we can ride this to the bank," and it started getting more about the humor than the
Horror.
yes.
after the third one, they treated it like a Pink Floyd's Have a Cigar. And if we tell you the name of the Game Boy, we call it Riding the Gravy Train.
Well, that's because studios always love to do the wash, rinse, repeat. It's what they try for. It's what they've wanted to do with so many movies that are series.
They want to milk it for every dollar it's worth.
Well, that's why I said they want to wash, rinse, repeat. Like I have a love-hate relationship with the second Blair Witch movie.
Book of Shadows was pretty good.
But also with what I know of it. Like in the current one that you can see, they have the opening comes into Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People, but it was actually supposed to be Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft, which would have set it up completely different as a movie. Because that's what they went for it was they put that in there. The studio pushed in the freaking death scenes, and they put some shit in there that they weren't supposed to put until like the end. Like it was actually meant to be more of a thriller, but instead they, like usual, the studio pushes it in pushes their dick into it because they think they know what people want when they really fucking don't.
Oh, man.
But really, it all just depends, because that's like Halloween wasn't supposed to be a series. They never should have made the second one continuing the series. I'll agree with I think it was Mitch when you guys were talking about that on your stream last week, James.
Yeah.
Like the third movie should have been the second movie.
Or they should have not connected the second movie to
the series. It should have been a random killer. What it should have been was just a killer going around, and it was a copycat.
It literally should have been, which is what it was meant to be, is a movie that plays on people's fear of hospitals. Rather than trying to connect it to Laurie Strode and
yeah.
Honestly, I would have loved if Season of the Witch was the theme.
Because they were trying to make it more of an anthology. That's why they did it with the third, of having it go it that way. And yeah, Johnny, I haven't heard shit from Olivia Wilde in forever. Apparently, I think she let shit go to her head as well.
Which
Really?
is sad.
The last I heard, she was trying to make political commentary, and it bit her in the ass. So.
Well, you can, but
In
you
your
also,
wheelhouse.
yeah. Even if it's not your considered wheelhouse, like Matt Damon's actually smarter than people give him credit for. They just always remember the way his doll looked in Team America, which is funny because even Trey and Matt were like, we planned on making Matt Damon a very deep intellectual character, and then we saw the doll and we're just like, Matt Damon.
Mad damn.
Matt Damon.
Like, there are smart actors and actresses out there, and they could go through and do it. The problem is like a lot of things, like we said earlier in that whole thing, is they think everyone loves them, so they think everyone's just going to listen to what they say as if it's gospel. Like the current dude who's been playing the Hulk, that I miss him being Mark Ruffalo. I miss him being in freaking stupid romance movies to where he always got shit on.
I absolutely loved him in 13 Going on 30.
I did like him in that movie as well.
Jay.
Really, do you know what I really liked as far as magician movies go? Now
What?
You See Me 1 and 2. Those
I
are
have
really
yet
good.
to watch those.
Good.
Those are good. But that's an ensemble cast of misfits.
Well, sort of. I mean, I think they added one person to replace the chick who played Little Rock from Zombieland, because you still have Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, because that came on in the onslaught of after Zombieland, which that's like the only movies I've actually liked Eisenberg in. Well, I didn't mind him in 30 Minutes or Less. That one was pretty decent.
What? You're talking about the best Lex Luthor ever? Come on now.
He
Bro.
was not
Hackman
the best Lex
Shane.
Luthor.
He was the best.
Bro,
Lex
I don't even
Luthor
consider
ever.
fucking the original Superman movies with what's his name as the best Lex Luthor ever. Best Lex Luthor has always been animated series.
Best Lex Luthor will
I thought
forever
Lex
be Michael
Luthor
Rosenberg.
from Smallville was really good.
Michael Rosenberg.
I refuse to even acknowledge Smallville, not because necessarily of it being a bad show. I didn't mind the premise, but my second deployment in 2013, one of the guys in support would watch that during work, and he wouldn't skip the fucking opening. I am so glad your mic cut out on that one, because I might have muted you myself.
What did he say?
He was doing the whole opening theme song, and I was about ready to go toe to toe with this dude. And I have no idea if I'd have won or not.
Oh
We're
man.
talking about doing a third one.
Third one, what?
Now You See Me.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually heard about that.
Huh.
As
Okay.
long as it's not garbage.
See,
Well, we'll
they
have to do Now You
replaced,
See Me's at some point.
Yeah, they replaced Isla Fisher because she actually almost died in the tank scene at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
She almost literally died because she couldn't get out.
Damn.
That
Oh, my.
panic that she had, that was actually her fixing to fucking drown.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was all real.
Yeah, there's been a few of them that have done that.
Have y'all ever seen the behind the scenes for fucking what was it? I believe it's fucking Island of Dr. Monroe with fucking Val Kilmer and shit.
Uh-huh.
Some of those scenes, that shit was just No, it was another movie where the guy was in the water. They had to get him out because he almost fucking drowned, and I can't remember the name of the movie. And it was an actual like they put him under, and the stunt or the shot lasted for longer than it was supposed to.
Do you remember?
Oh, that was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
It wasn't Robin Hood Men in Tights, damn it.
I'm on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast.
It's not the Mississippi. I forget the name.
Like the only other magician movies I can think of is there's The Prestige, which I have yet to really watch. The only other one I can think of that has a magician moment in it is the first Wishmaster movie, which I like the movie, and there's parts that I dislike. I did like how it had its nod to the Candyman, because I want to say, if I remember correctly, the guy who played that was the guard.
Tony Todd.
Yeah, that was actually the really cool thing about
Wishmaster had Tony Todd in it, and it also had Kane Hodder in it.
We gotta do the Candyman series at some point.
And then I'm trying to think of the movie they had that was kind of like a rip off of Scream, but it was, or not Scream, but Scream, because it was all the Urban Legend. That's what it was, because it actually had so many of the greats from their roles. It had the guy who played Chucky, or was the voice the voice of Chucky. It also had
Brad Dourif was.
It had Brad Dourif. It had Freddie. I don't remember all their names, but it had a whole bunch of people in there.
Yeah, Brad Dourif is a legend. Brad Dourif, Jeffrey Combs. We need to do the Reanimator series at some point.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do. Hell, honestly, I know we shouldn't, or at least I know we probably shouldn't. I'm honestly thinking about saying, fuck going through Nicolas Cage's stuff, and just, we'll slowly sprinkle that in as we go when we need something. And just go in whatever direction stuff takes us.
At the same time that The Prestige came out, there was also another movie about a magician called The Illusionist.
Yeah, isn't that the one with Fight Club and
Yeah.
Ed Norton?
I
Yeah.
was going to say the not Eric Bana other Hulk.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one either. You said The Illusionist. Let me see.
Yeah, but The Prestige is, wow. That one's really good.
It is really good.
Wasn't that the one with fucking
Batman?
Not
Yes.
Christian Bale.
Bale and Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
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 Like,
It
aren't
is.
they like brothers or something? No, it's
Rival magicians.
yeah.
Yeah, they had
I've never seen that one either.
some weird shit going on with that one.
So we just saw Burt Wonderstone,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really good. And there
I
were
didn't
actually
like it.
some. There were actually some.
Was that a Valley Girl accent there for a little bit, Angela?
Shut up.
Because, like, I couldn't tell if you said that was really good or that was really God. Because it was like, I was really God.
Oh my god!
Stop.
Like what?
I had a moment.
Nah.
I was
I
trying
like
to
God.
distract you. I had a clueless moment, okay?
Brody.
I
Yeah.
still like that movie.
It is a good movie.
Plus, Paul Rudd doesn't look much different then than he fucking does
That
now.
he does now.
Let's go,
Exactly.
God.
He looks a little bit younger.
Exactly, Johnny. It was good.
Give me a break. It doesn't come out very often, but I do have a little bit of the California.
You have a little bit of California.
It's all right. I'm from Michigan. We don't technically have an accent from everything I'm aware of. We just tend to copy everyone else's.
You know whose
Different
accent
California.
that I would just absolutely love? Which state? Wisconsin.
Oh, don't you know?
Oh, you're trying to go with the
Exactly.
Wisconsin or the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, yeah?
Yeah. Bobby's mom.
You mean Canadians?
Bobby's
Yeah.
mom.
Well, they're
Yeah,
American
Bob-
Canadians.
Bob- don't you know?
And technically, if you actually go through and look at some things, I want to say from what I was reading for like Norse mythology, it would actually make more sense if Thor and Loki didn't actually sound like that. They'd actually sound more like Minnesota, and they'd be like, Thor would be coming down being like, now Loki, what are you going down here and doing with the Tesseract? Now cheese and crackers, you bring that back to Midgard. Wait, no, not Midgard, you know.
Darling, you're on the wrong side of the Atlantic.
Oh, come on now. Don't you be talking about the way it talks.
He was trying to do.
Black Irish. That's
He was trying to do
hilarious.
Wisconsin.
And he came
Yes,
up
he was
Irish, and
doing Irish.
again, I have a Baltimorean accent that sometimes is just what the fuck.
It happens.
I'm
Like
sorry,
I said,
Rob.
I'm from Michigan. I blend my accents. I do a little bit better
What's
with
incredible, Burt? Like Wonderstone?
I typically tend to do a little bit better with the Irish. And just let things go.
Actually, it was wonderful.
I
That's
expect
what
to see you
Johnny
with a
Hellcat
pot of
says.
gold soon.
Well, that's like you guys know Trippy Cast, right?
Yes.
Nope.
No.
He used to do things back in the day where it's like he'd find streams that were using StreamYards and would put a link in there and he'd go join. Him and a couple others would do that shit and he'd stream it because it was usually pretty funny in some cases. And I was like, man, I'd be so tempted to do that since I didn't have a camera at the time, and I'd be coming up there and be like, oh, how you doing today there? I'm here today because God told me I needed help. And just go through some whole bullshit thing on that one.
Are you gonna be an
that
Irish
would be
priest?
If you
hilarious.
Yes,
do
that was the
you
whole
have
thing.
to say you have to say you heard they had a snake problem.
God, come to me. You know, I'd pull a little bit of the Doc from Boondock Saints. You know, the Lord came to me and he said, Rotn, you gotta go help these people. They're good people. They just need guidance.
And the fact that you gave the guy from fucking Fraggle Rock Tourette's
What?
in the Boondock Saints. The guy
Oh.
from Fraggle Rock.
Oh, I didn't even know he was in Fraggle Rock.
I loved him.
Yeah,
What?
he's the bar owner in the Boondock Saints.
Doc.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Doc
Yeah.
from Fraggle Rock is.
Fuck us!
Shit.
Make like a tree and get the fuck out of my bar.
Yeah, him. He was in the beginning. He's the old man that. Rocket, what are you doing?
You know what they say, people in glass houses sink ships. And a penny saves worth two in the bush.
We're gonna buy you a book of Proverbs.
This
and
mix and
shit.
match shit's gotta go.
Oh, I love his monologuing too.
Ding dong, motherfucker. Ding dong.
I'm trying to think what Doc's monologue was into.
Oh, it wasn't dogs. It
Oh.
was what's his faces?
The one that died that was
Yeah.
killed by
Rocco Del Rocco?
Rocco,
Yeah.
Rocco's. We built shit.
It was a whole Dennis Leary ripoff, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
These were hard men going through hard times, and that gives me a hard on.
Hard on.
Not in the gay way. Goes without saying.
Yeah, goes with us. Men build shit.
And what do we do when it falls down? We build it right back up, but bigger, better. Yeah, I still remember having to have the discussions with people as well of how they were like, oh, the Boondock Saints 2 is so terrible. It's like, dude, do you realize how hard it is to make a sequel of a cult classic after it's become a cult classic status and it's got several years in between?
Still like it, honestly. Like, I like the second Boondock Saints probably more than I like the first. Like, the first one had some memorable moments. It's a firefight.
What's really funny is during that whole thing, right after it, there's a call that goes out that says a shot fired.
Yes.
From him shooting his pistol. Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe going, stop it, talking to the guy like,
yeah, well,
fucking faggot.
The whole thing as well for like the second one was it had a bigger budget. It's kind of like what they were going over. There are certain things that you cannot give them a bigger budget on things. Certain movies don't work so well. The reason why like the first Boondock Saints worked so well was because of how small the budget it had. Some locations were actually very limited. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of locations in that. There was like 8.
Yeah.
And they used a lot of B-list actors too.
Well, yeah, because it was a whole thing. And then it goes to that one, which the second one still wasn't bad, but they had a bigger thing on it. And they wanted to play off of too many other movies, in my opinion. Because, like, yeah, for the first one, oh, tell me something you're going to need the fucking rope for. You know, and that was their, oh, this was based off some fucking movie shit, but, like, almost all of his plans in the second one were based off a movie.
Yeah,
but they still had their own little twist where they failed and still come out on top somehow. But it's that whole Blues Brothers trope. We're on a mission for God.
Well, see,
and it works.
Alright, so the only reason why the Blues Brothers actually worked was because they literally were on a mission from God. It was indirectly God sent them on this motherfucking mission. Because in the second one, supernatural shit happens to save them all the fucking time. Like, so it made sense. Boondock Saints didn't have that. They were just, oh, well, we're doing it for faith. Well, why the fuck are y'all always succeeding?
But that's how, is because the first one, what is it called?
The first one had their whole thing of
epiphany.
Their epiphany was while they were in prison, and they had the whole thing, you know, after going to the church during St. Patrick's Day before they went to work, where the priest or the father talked about when their mother died and him being like the only reason evil succeed is when good men do nothing. So, then have it go into that, which is kind of the forecasting of they get into the fight, the bar fight, which ends up turning into them basically getting into a street fight in a way. To then just have it fall, like then them having the epiphany after them turning themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, like that was some plot armor, because I'm pretty sure with that jump, he'd have had a leg in his chest.
Well, he had the big man to break his fall.
It ain't gonna break his fall much.
True. Especially when you got a fucking toilet on you. Oh wait, he'd already thrown the toilet.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he threw the toilet at the other guy.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some plot armor, and it does have some faults to it. But overall, Boondock Saints was great. 2, yeah, they had a bigger budget, but I still love. For me, the payoff comes at the end, where you've got William Dafoe sitting on the bank.
Oh,
telling her that she wore ugly shoes to his funeral.
Yeah.
And that he's been taken in by the church.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got to get them boys out.
And then all the prisoners are in there gunning for their throats.
Yeah. So, see, with The Walking Dead winding down, now is the good time to do Boondock Saints 3 because they've been in prison. And as old as these actors are now, perfect time to do 3.
Yeah, it would be a perfect.
Johnny, we're not talking about episodes of the Boondocks. We're talking about the Boondock Saints. Two different things. One's an animated TV series. The other is a, God damn it, Jeremy Renner and I can't remember the other dude because I can't remember anything else he's been in.
He was down there.
Not Jeremy Renner.
Sean
Fuck.
Patrick Flanagan.
Sean Patrick Flanagan.
And the guy that
The Walking Dead.
yeah,
Whose name I can usually remember.
Wait a minute.
He's got a really redneck name.
No, I'm look. Actually, I'm on that site, so let me look it up. Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, that is a redneck name. That is a huge fucking redneck name. Yeah, you're right.
and he was also in Kojima's Death Stranding.
Yep. He was also in the second Blade movie.
So,
Apparently, he's done voice acting for Hell of a Boss.
has he?
Yep, he was in Voltron Legendary Defender for one episode of Robot Chicken, the movie Sky, the movie Air, the movie Vacation. He's been in quite a few things. Yeah.
You want to talk about a surreal, fucked up movie that seems low budget?
Okay.
Go
Moon.
What?
Moon. It had the guy with from Green Mile, the one that actually killed the kids.
Oh.
I know who you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
have the worst time with that movie because I actually really love that actor and he was so vile in that.
Yeah, he was in a movie called Moon.
Well.
And it's him and there's I can't remember the actor that did the voice of the robot, but it's just those two people. And yeah, and he's on the moon. And you spend
2009,
so long on the
Sam
moon.
Rockwell, Kevin Spacey.
Yes. And
Oh, I've actually seen stuff about this. This is actually a movie I kind of wanted to watch.
it's really good.
Yeah,
It's slow, but it's methodical. It's good.
and it's fucked up.
It is more fucked up than a foot sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this one at some point because, like, I know the twist to this one, and it's fucking weird.
I like the twist.
Oh, the twist is actually pretty amazing from everything I know of it.
Yes. Yes, it is. Basically, they found a mineral on the moon. So they send one person up to harvest for a set amount of time. And then after he meets his term, he goes home as rich.
And they send another person,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be in like the last few months or whatever of his, towards the end of his 3-year stint on the moon. So it's not like you're going up there for like a few months, maybe like 6 months to a year. Like, no, you're up there for 3 years.
Well, Johnny, have a good night. Sweet dreams.
Appreciate you
your
stopping
Monday
by.
works good.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think we have much to talk about else for The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. Most of us liked it. One of us really didn't because, yeah, it follows a set stage play, but they do that with a fuck ton of stuff. Some just do it better than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate stealing Mitch's uh, phrasing as far as producers go, but he's right in this case. Hey, we got to have this just because.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with a lot of Hollywood now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that, oh, what the fuck? The duo from Zoolander and Starsky and Hutch and other bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like they probably turned them down and said, okay, well, let's try this guy. These two. And of course, as much as I love Steve Buscemi, he is a slut for money, for movies.
Well, he's like a lot of actors, and people just don't realize it. And I've said it, I think, pretty much every stream damn near. He's a working actor. It's not that he's It's not that he's necessarily a slut for that whole thing and whatnot. But from what it seems, I think he just likes to see what he can go through, what he can do, and just he doesn't look at it like some other actors do. Like they're like, "Oh, I only do these types of movies because I'm so and so." Like.
You need to have a budget bigger than the GDP of Greece.
Yeah, he's like, I go through and I do what interests me or whatnot, but I'm also a working actor. That's why I like bring up Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke's been in a lot of weird ass movies and whatnot, and he's flat out said he does it because it supports his family's lifestyle. So that's the reason why he does these things.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi though, there was a series that came and went. It was an HBO series, Boardwalk Empire.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good series.
Dude, he actually has some range, because all I've ever seen him play is like these stupid comedies with Sandler and this. You know,
I mean,
occasionally he gets a good bit part in like Con Air,
or he has that small.
The thing I ever saw him in was Lonesome Dove.
I don't remember that one. I also remember though his small role in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a small role. He was Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink.
Big role.
Yeah, Mr. Pink is the most awesome one of all.
Isn't he the only one that survives?
No one survived.
No, like one person survives, barely, I think.
Wasn't that Michael Madsen's character?
I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Pink.
Oh, okay.
And he was also in Desperado. He was the herald, the one that was going around in bars telling people like,
yeah, tell them all about him.
Yeah.
And he was in the one with, I want to say the one with Bruce Willis in space.
Yeah,
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's done a lot of different movies and whatnot.
Yeah. But his range in Boardwalk Empire.
I forgot he was in Fargo. I don't think I've actually watched that movie all the way through.
I did not like Fargo.
I've never seen it.
The Coen brothers get a lot of praise, but I don't like a lot of their stuff.
They had this one. Okay, Beer Fest. The Jewish guy. He did a Coen Brothers film. I didn't understand that fucking movie from start to finish, and I can't even tell you the name of it.
The Dead Man?
I don't know.
I actually really did like.
It's just... And even No Country for Old Men, the ending just pissed me off. It's like watching a Stephen King book.
And those are hit or miss.
No, what I mean is when you read a Stephen King book, the endings always suck.
Yeah, well,
it's
it all
like
depends.
Watching that.
Again, some of his books are hit or miss.
Well, that's because for the Stephen King books, it all depends on like what you're going into with it. because I mean, most of Stephen King's books are meant to be horror, and books don't tend to follow the way a lot of your Hollywood movies do, to where, you know, it's going to have a happy ending, then maybe with a jump scare or something. Like it. It follows more of the same method that like George A. Romero has done for several of his movies, to where there really is no happy ending.
So in a book, you have 500 pages to scare me, and not all that really translates well to a movie. You only got so little time to frighten me. You know, so you have to cut out some things, like the Langoliers. The Langoliers is so much more deeper than what the miniseries, even though that was a miniseries show.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy Knockers, even though that was a miniseries. Yeah.
I still gotta read that one.
But it's 500 pages to frighten you and to explain itself. A movie gives you 2 hours, and it need to get in, get out, and go the fuck home.
Well, for most of them, yes. For some of them, no. Because for some of the things, they should be a series and not be the one single trying to tell the whole story in a single thing. Like, I didn't hate the Dark Tower movie, but the Dark Tower movie has very little to do with the Dark Tower series.
The Dark Tower.
Yeah, it's like they tried to combine all 7 into one.
No, they tried to combine 3 books and then add a little bit of other stuff that actually didn't even happen.
Well, I heard
because they basically tried to make it and that's what pissed me off, was because Stephen King for the longest time said, no, the Dark Tower series will not be done unless it's done to my specs, the way I want it done, or the way I want to see it. He didn't want to direct it because he'd seen his directing talents and they were shit. But it's like certain westerns that have been based on books. There's been a few actors, and I can't remember which ones they were. My dad could tell me right offhand, that they would go to cut things out, and there were a few actors that were fans of the books, like, no, you cannot cut that out because you want to have this scene, and to have this scene you have to have this part, or it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Again, studios meddling and time constraints. That's what it boils down to. In a horror movie, you need to get in, get out, and go home. You gotta do that in under 2 hours. Unless you are talented, you aren't doing that from a book. Now you can make a book based off a movie, which would even. It's easier to make a book based off a movie than it is to make a movie based off a book.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look at how many books have been made off fucking Star Wars and Star Trek. And that whole thing.
You know, even then, like novelizations of certain movies, the novel makes everything a little better because now I don't have that 2 hour time constraint.
Exactly. Well, if a movie is well done, you can write a book based on it and just expand the story out.
Yeah. Well, typically as well, the horror genre of going from a horror book to a horror movie just does not mesh well. Like, you can do it for an action movie, like, so doing westerns, you can plausibly do it. It depends on the author. I can't remember one of them, but like,
you can do a Louis L'Amour, like the Penny Dreadfuls.
Yeah, Louis L'Amour. Oh, there's also another author that, like, because he spends, you know, a third of a chapter describing the landscape, you can show that in a shot. Like, seriously, you can show that in a single shot. You don't have to go through and describe the way the trail looks.
Well, that's, I hate to go back to it, but Lonesome Dove. That was a beautiful movie that was very true to the book. They had to cut out a few things, but it hit all of the major important beats in the story. Yeah.
And that's another thing about adapting a book for a movie. So you got to cut out all the useless filler parts. Like, do you really need to explain why she was getting a damn cake? unless it was part of the main plot, like
Yeah.
something directly involved in the main plot, like the cake was secretly part of a fucking ritual, or there's a knife in the cake so she can fall out the goddamn basement. I don't know. She got the cake. Okay, move on.
Because, like, the one that I still argue with people on, and I shouldn't say I still argue with people. People don't want to have the argument with me because, well, they're wrong. And that is, well, I will say of the Carrie movies, the Sissy Spacek version, in my opinion, is the best. It is also one of the worst. Like, all of them are off for the book. The Chloe Morse Grace is actually closer to the description of Carrie because Carrie's actually a thicker gal. Sissy Spacek was not. Neither movie, and I'm excluding the second movie, the actual middle of the second movie, because there was a middle one in between those two that is supposed to be like her half sister, which is even more retarded in that whole scenario. Because
I saw that movie.
Yeah, so did I. The whole best thing about that one is watching some of the special features of it and whatnot. But Margaret White, the mother, I know some people are like, I cannot remember the woman who played her in the Sissy Spacek version. The Chloe Morse Grace one. Yeah, well, the Chloe Morse Grace one actually came closer to getting Margaret White's persona. It was actually closer. If you've read the book, because when I went through and did this, within an hour of finishing the book, I watched the Sissy Spacek movie, smoked a cigarette, watched the Chloe Morse Grace movie, so everything was fresh on my mind. And Margaret White is not a thin woman. Margaret White is a thick woman who will backhand her daughter, grab her by the scruff of her neck with said same hand, and then manhandle her like she's a child. And I mean a small child. Now, like, for that movie, it would have been pretty easy for a lot of the filler to not have as many of like it's like they kind of did, where they didn't bring back some of the older stuff, or not the older stuff, but like the flashbacks to when Carrie was essentially younger and whatnot. But one of like the key things that because it's been so long since I've actually watched those movies, but I read the book pretty recently within the past year, that I wish they'd have had in there was when basically Margaret White talks about when, well, basically she gets sexually assaulted by her husband. And she liked it. No, that's quite literally a line in the book.
I know.
Like, and then like the death of Margaret White, instead of having her I can't even remember how they do it, but like pretty much
crucified her.
What?
They crucified her.
Yeah. Nope. Carrie just sits there and basically ends up holding her hand and slows down her heart until it stops. Yeah. That's fucking psychotic. And this is also after she takes a knife into the shoulder that her mother spent like 2 hours sharpening and honing. Like, when you actually go through and read the book, it is insane how many people legitimately died because of how pissed off Carrie got.
It really is. It's
Survivor was
it's very terrifying. Like, the only death that happened that wasn't actually Carrie's fault was Tommy Ross.
Yep.
And that's because he got brained by the freaking bucket that had the pig's blood in it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, those cunts deserve everything they fucking got.
Majority of them, yes. And that's like, well, even some of the teachers, they were trying to do right by Carrie in that whole thing. It's just things didn't go the way they had hoped because they weren't used to how Carrie was, so they let their frustrations get the better of them in more than one occasion.
Again,
because like if you talk about the students and everything, even a bit of the town, because like they in the book, like, because they cut it out of the movie of like how there was shit in the town that happened of how residents died and whatnot because fucking power lines came down, and the one neighbor's telling or the one person's telling her neighbor, hey, don't fucking run that way, those power lines will get you, and she's like, no, we gotta get out of here, and goes to run and gets fucking zapped by a goddamn power line that's flopping all over the place. Like, shit got crazy. Because like going through that, if you actually pay attention into it, like they did hit a bit more of the character of the whites, Margaret and Carrie, in the remake better, because it was actually supposed to be more of what the book was. I just wish they'd have bit the fucking bullet and done what they should have done and set it in the fucking 70s like it originally was.
Everything needs a modern. If you're gonna do it, everything needs a modern fucking updating.
Nope, I don't give a fuck about a modern updating. That was the thing I liked about the first season of Stranger Things, was they were smoking all over the goddamn place. The only thing I was pissed off in that movie, not that movie, but that TV series, was it took until the second goddamn fucking season for one of them to finally say the word faggot. I don't get frickin' monetized in this anyways. I'm not far enough, but quite literally, the one dude's dad, from the other girl that gets included, gets in there, tells his one son, he's like, he calls his son, saying that his son's looking in the mirror like a faggot. And I'm like, how the hell did it take 2 seasons and like 2 episodes from the season finale of season 2 for them to finally say this? That should have been in the first goddamn episode when they were making fun of the freaking D&D nerds. That was a common trope.
Yeah, but that would have been more like a high school thing. They were barely in junior high.
Nah, I'm still pretty sure it would have happened in junior high. That was pretty prevalent language from everything I know.
Shit, that was pretty prevalent language in the 90s. Calling someone a fag?
Yeah.
Or faggot?
Yeah, that's what the problem is. You guys are looking at the 90s. In the 80s, people still didn't use that word as frequently. People are still talking about their funny Uncle James.
I mean, back then, gay was happy.
Sorry for that word. Or that
reference.
We'll have a gay old time. That's not talking about sex.
But yeah, their funny Uncle Bob, who has a
male
him
roommate,
and his best friend live together. Yeah.
But what I meant was like any slur that they would have used, like they wanted to hold back on that of any slurs that would be considered like homophobic or whatnot. And it's like, it was the fucking 80s that, like, yeah, you're going to have the one strong-headed feminist potentially, but the rest of them are going to have some pretty heinous shit they'll say.
You would have thought it would have come up between Jonathan Byers and Steve Harrington.
Yeah, that's where I expected it the most, actually. To one of them to say with his brother missing because of knowing that, that Will was missing or whatnot, and with his brother being in a D&D and everything, that they'd have probably said you and your faggy brother or something. Or called him queer. What?
Rod, were you were in Monkey's Morning Stream?
Yeah.
You're wrong.
And remember when he was saying how historical war movies won't get made nowadays because of the language, like calling a motherfucker a Jap?
Yeah. But hold on a second, Angela, what?
You're wrong, because if you remember, Joyce says that her husband actually said that Will was a fag.
I don't remember that. There is a high plausibility you were right. I just don't fucking remember that.
Yeah.
I just remember that Will's dad was a piece of shit trying to get money.
She was talking to Hob, telling him that she didn't think that Will was with him, but because he turned around and always said that Will was a fag.
Huh. I do not remember that part.
You're starting to shed, kid.
Well, I stand corrected. Sit, technically.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
I guess what I should have clarified, since I was incorrect, but what I meant was it not being used in passing like that way, but where it was used as a direct insult by a person. Like, it was still a direct insult in a way, but it wasn't used by a character calling another character that one.
Character.
Like when they were saying, oh, Will's in the afterlife with all his fairies and whatnot.
It wasn't direct calling someone a fag.
And I still have to say, for that show, what pissed me off so much is they're like, oh, okay, yeah, 11 can kill these things with her brain, but only in select moments can guns actually hurt these creatures. And I'm like, okay, unless we're getting into actual fucking magic, firearms would still hurt this creature. Because that's how physics works. Even if it had hard as hell skin, those insides are going to be towed to fuck up. Like, just because you're wearing, level 4 plates that can take a frickin' 30-06 to the chest damn near point blank doesn't mean you're not still going to have broken ribs.
And internal bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bruising.
I mean, it's not even that. It's you have soft bits all over your body. Like, there are places armor doesn't protect. Like, if I wanted to hit you, I could hit you in your face and really fuck you over.
Well, it's just going off into weird things of La La Land, and I don't even know where the hell we were heading with this anymore, or what led to this one. Oh, because of
language.
Well, no, not language, because of taking movies, like if they were set based off a book or the screenplay's based off a set period in time, actually going with that period of time. Stop trying to have to update. Oh, we got to set it in the modern world. Look, we don't always need to do it set in a modern world. We don't always need to do a fish out of water or an isekai-esque type thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, the problem is it's not even that. It's that some events, some dialogue, some pieces don't translate well to modern settings. It's.
And the biggest thing is, if we're going to put them in that time frame, let's use the language of that time frame.
All right, so Romeo and Juliet. If you were to do a modern Romeo and Juliet, the dialogue would not work.
That's why I like the way they did it.
Also thinking it's like, Romeo,
wherefore art thou?
Where you at, Romeo? Shit bussin'.
But the dialogue is part of the story.
Yeah.
Like, some of that shit doesn't translate well. Like when Harold Pinay Jr. and goes a plague on both your houses, it doesn't work because it works for the setting, but in a modern setting, it wouldn't work. What you want to say? Fuck your families.
Yeah, I will say, like, if you remember the Romeo and Juliet that a lot of people hate, that had Leonardo DiCaprio in it because they had the guns.
The Bachelor Man, Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, which I still love the hand me my longsword and goes to freaking hand him a rifle. Still love that. But hold on. Here's a little gee whiz firearms knowledge that I just always think is funny. The one of the pistols that was used in that one, I want to say it was by the black guy. That's like it's a Walther, and I can't remember exactly which one it is. Is the fire? Well, it was used by Willem Dafoe in the first Boondock Saints movies when he's cross-dressing.
I didn't know. And what do you call it? Cross dressed in that one, Mercutio, when he goes to the Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
It was his fiddlestick, which again makes no goddamn sense with guns. Like they should just have them using fucking melee weapons at that point.
It was no different than the machine gun labeled broadsword.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you bite your thumb at me, sir? Like, it doesn't work.
I love that scene. Not in that movie, because you are correct. They really should have updated the dialogue.
Yeah. Did you just flip me off?
Yeah,
and it was a Walther P5 compact. It was just minus the ivory grips.
Yeah.
See, when that came out, I had actually just finished watching the first iteration of Helsing. So, do you know what I'm talking about?
Would you say, James?
The 13-episode anime of Helsing?
Yes.
Okay.
The original one?
Mm-hmm.
Before they did Ultimate?
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize that wasn't a real weapon. The 457 Castle?
The Halcon?
Oh, the one that's basically kind of supposed to be a spoof of the 454 Casull. And what's funny is when they actually looked into that, or firearms expert looked into that of like what it was supposed to be really based off of, there are actual handguns that humans use that are more powerful than that.
Yeah.
The 450 Magnum, the one that fucking Clint Eastwood wields in Dirty Harry.
No, that's a 44 Magnum.
My bad. But that's still a fucking powerful weapon.
And it's not even the most powerful handgun in the world. It was at the time. A different company took that one with the 454 Casull. I can't remember who that was. And then Smith & Wesson reclaimed it with the Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum.
Razor Fist said it best. That weapon was the shot it fired all around. It could fucking put out planet at the equator. He's not holding the handgun. He was a hound with pearl grips.
Well, if we're gonna do this, and this is gonna I can't do this without making the face, and I'm actually so glad no one can see me because this shit hurts when I do it. I had to bring out the FUD, and he sure went with a 1911 because of 45, and everything falls to ball. And good God, that fucking hurts to cross my eyes like that. Oh God.
Oh jeez.
Oh God.
Wow, you commit, man.
Yeah.
You really do.
Oh, because it has to be done. If I ever do a camera thing, like quite literally, you're gonna see me do that, and then have to stop. Be like, oh fuck, that hurt. Oh God. That's where I would give Polydub so much shit when he's just like, oh man, you got to go with a 45. It won 2 world wars. It's been like, really, the 1911 and the Smith & Wesson Model 25 Victory chambered in a 45 ACP. That's what won World War I and World War II. 45 ACP, not a 30-06, not artillery shells, not 2 atomic bombs. 45 ACP ball ammo. Really? You really want to fucking go here with this one?
Side note. Side tangent. Did you ever hear about the Nazi super weapon, the long gun that could fire that was a series of exploding chambers to keep the shell being propelled?
Huh. That doesn't surprise me too much.
So they were developing a gun that could fire from, I believe, Munich, from Germany to England without,
basically a explodey idea of a railgun.
Pretty much, yes. To keep it propelled, it could work, they said, but it would fuck up the barrel. Like the constant explosions would really fuck the barrel up. So it can only be fired maybe once or twice. So it was never fucking put into action. I really wish they would have got it used. Well, no, I don't wish they would have got it done, but you know what I mean.
I was gonna say thank you.
So it came out wrong because it is a feat of engineering.
It would have been interesting to see, just not from them.
That group agreed. Like that
I mean, in a way, we kind of took that concept, just removed the barrel, and that's what we've used for space flight. Was, having a bigger set of rockets that first propel it, to which end up falling off to have a smaller set of rockets, continuing the propulsion.
Yeah. But the concept, if someone, not the Nazis, could have gotten that weapon working, it literally would have been. It would change warfare as we knew it.
Until the invention, I'm pretty sure that would be more of an until the invention of the atomic bomb and then cruise missiles, because once we got to that would render that obsolete. Because I mean, if you want to look at it, going between, what's really funny is like looking at how guns went for the military. So like for the submachine gun that the Army used for the longest time, you had the Thompson subgun or submachine gun that they made into the A1 variant, which was smaller than the original, what everyone knows as the Chicago typewriter.
Okay.
And then immediately after that, it goes from the A1 to the A3. The adoption of the A2, which in the A3 is what's known as the grease gun. So that was used, I want to say, in later parts of World War II-ish, but like pretty much once you got to Vietnam and everything, it was definitely more used. And they used that submachine gun from like the late 60s, early 70s up until almost the 2000s before they decided not to use a submachine gun, until they've been looking at it more recently of having a submachine gun again.
Mm.
But the A2 premise that they were going with was very similar to the Thompson. But by the time they were finally getting it ready to where it could be milled out, or it's like could be brought out and starting to be put into production, someone had already brought the M3 grease gun into a thing. So it's like it had been adopted, but so quickly after it had been adopted, they found a better, easier to manufacture freaking gun, because quite literally it's an open bolt, basically tube with a screw-on barrel. It if you look into the grease gun or like watch Forgotten Weapons thing on it, like the ridiculous of how simple the mechanics of the grease gun are, or what's been, and that whole thing is just ungodly ridiculously easy. It's like a Mac 10, but simpler.
God damn, it's been used in a lot of wars. You're right. Damn.
Yeah, because comparatively, especially for back then, not as much anymore. You have to look at, yes, this looks really cool for a single idea, making a single rifle or firearm, this can be okay, but if you have to mass produce it, you got to cut a lot of shit. Because like the original creator of the Thompson submachine gun, Admiral Blish, if memory serves me correctly, because of his Blish principle, because of watching naval cannons that would have like two different materials, because the drag on them when the cannons were fired would cause it to slow down, so that way it could be, it wouldn't bust out the whole freaking thing of when it would go to fire. Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons does a much better version of it than I can. But basically, he was being retarded of taking a pistol caliber carbine and then saying, "Oh, we're gonna put these two different materials because that'll work for that whole thing." When all he did was just make an overly complicated blowback rifle. And like that's how and the only reason it got adopted was because of the old Marines, and not like how the current Marines are. I mean, like legitimate seasoned Marines that had seen combat and then were working for whatever they were put through. So like the first ones that got to use the machine gun went from, or that Thompson subgun of its how it was before the A3 variant or the A1 variant, went from having, I think it'd be like 36-inch long bolt action rifles that only hold 5 rounds, if that, to a relatively 26-inch to 30-inch long submachine gun with a 50-round drum magazine that weighs like 12 pounds.
Don't get me to line.
And they fucking loved it. But when they, went to go make it for the Army and everything, that got down to the A1, they had stripped so much off of it. They got rid of the drum magazine because drum magazines are notoriously unreliable compared to a box magazine. And
Here's why I love this stream. I learn something new every day.
And apparently this has gone from, rotten movie reviews to rotten talking guns again.
Hey, there's only one thing I got to say. If you're going to sit here and talk guns, the best way to combine guns and movie and being a fellow gun nut situation,
Type
you
deal.
got to do Tremors.
Oh, you realize there are so many movies I could use for that. I could go over just the John Wick movies for the different guns that have been in there.
Oh, and I can't wait.
I am still looking forward to John Wick 4, but honestly, it's one of those things that just... I'm still slightly frustrated because I was actually hoping more than, one of the high rollers would be dead by the end of the 3rd movie. To only have the one high roller and then her brother replaces her because he put the hit out on her, to, then have him dead. I was expecting at least 2 to 3 more of the high, people that sit at the high table to be dead. Not just one of them fucking wounded.
It's covered in this one.
It fucking damn well better.
There's one more after this one. They say it all comes to an end in 5.
Good. It has to have an ending. And
as far as John Wick's story is done.
Well, honestly, if they wouldn't have made the sequel, they could have made an entire TV show based upon just the Continental.
Oh, yeah, that's what the plan was. There was a plan for that to actually happen. But I think they're going to tell John Wick's story first. But if you look it up on, even Wiki has a thing on it about there being a failed attempt at doing the Continental.
And then I'm also looking forward to that World War II era one. Is it Sisu or something? I can't remember. I think I know Sinatra posted or showed it the trailer in the last AAA meeting, and I first saw it because of Scribe retweeting it, or quote tweeting it technically. But they do one during World War II to where pretty much, a guy goes through and on his land he finds gold, and it's during World War II, and as he's trying to go to a bank to where he can actually put it in there, pretty much he gets kind of robbed by Nazis and gets pissed off. And the only part of that trailer that irritated me, because I was like, oh, of course they had to fucking have it, was like the 7 chicks in a row all holding guns, walking kind of out of the smoke. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. It just seems too forced. Because you almost always have to have here's the badass women. Don't get me wrong. For John Wick 3, Halle Berry's portion of there, until the whole going to the desert thing, and that her and Keanu Reeves going through and doing all that fighting, that shit was dope. But you notice in a couple, like for a lot of things, she kind of got manhandled by some of the dudes, which is why she used the dogs.
Yeah.
So like it made sense. In the first movie, what was actually really funny is I went through special features on that one because it was one of the few ones I actually wanted to. The stunt woman who played the Penny chick or whatever her name was, I can't remember, and I don't care to look it up at the moment. But apparently they wrecked like 3 scene sets of the hotel, of Wix's hotel room, of them fighting, trying to figure out exactly how they want to do it. But I think, go ahead.
Looks like Angela's trying to say something, but she's not coming through.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay, because your deal was lighting up.
That could potentially be some background noise or whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah, you never know.
That's really weird.
But we're at almost 2 hours. We're about 15 minutes away from it. I think I'm going to call it here.
Okay.
And that whole thing. So next week we should be doing a Nicolas Cage movie. And then I think we're going to start doing one of the Tremors ones. So since we did that one, should be Birdie. So I'll have to look that up.
What's the next one we're going to do?
Birdie.
Birdie.
Actually, I'm going to go look at that real quick. B-I-R-D-Y. No, not B-D. That was an R, not an E. Okay, there we go. No, back. The 1984. Okay, yeah, because this one's Matthew Modine, Nicolas Cage, and John Harkins, so... God, man, some of the people he did work with back in the frickin' like 80s, they must have been into some hard drugs because fuck did some of them age.
Yep.
And they were like relatively the same age as him.
Cocaine's a bitch.
Look what the fucking did to Keith Richards.
Craziness.
Richards has been like that since the 60s, though.
Yeah.
They called him The Walking Dead.
There's a reason.
But,
Dean still looks pretty decent.
But the funny thing about it is, Keith Richards, he could probably snort anthrax and go, I like it.
what'd you cut this with? Fucking baby powder?
Someone's got Cockney in them.
I don't know Keith Richards' fucking accent. So I'm just going
Did you
off
ever
bullshit.
you saw Dead Man's Chest, didn't you?
Dude, I've seen a lot of shit, and like I don't remember what I've seen him. I just went with an English accent because I couldn't remember if he was English or not.
Yeah, he's British.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does. He actually has a few lines in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Because his character is
Jack Sparrow's father.
Yeah,
The keeper of the tone.
exactly. Keeper of the law.
So you'll not be following the law, and he goes clean, and he looks up. He goes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
More like guidelines. But you guys got anything you want to show?
Check out Clippers United.
Yeah, I might see if he needs an extra next Sunday because I don't got a gym day that day.
We'll put in for it. Tell them that you want on.
That was fun. Again, my next vacations, I'm most definitely going to hop on again.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
too bad. It's like I couldn't have gotten back early, and if you needed an extra today, because then it could have been basically the entire cast of a movie review in his fucking thing.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have been fucking great.
Been like, so what do you want to pick? It's like, so what do you want to shill? Been like, the four of us are all going to shill my movie reviews.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, basically the entire panel.
I turned around and was like, I'm going to be on Rotten Movie Reviews with Rotten Corpse.
Yeah, he cut out all three of us
Yeah,
in one deal.
But anything other than quippers? I don't even care if you want to just shout out another YouTuber you like.
Check me out. I'm another YouTuber I like.
check me out. I'm another YouTuber I like.
Are you starting to do shit on your channel now?
I need to figure out what the fuck to do.
Dude, if you have
do what
to,
you like.
yeah, dude, if you want to do like James did the other things, like we had the one weekend where he did the anime, and the last weekend where he went over movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, shit, depending on when you want to do it, let me know and I'll come on there and just bullshit with you, and I'll let you handle being the director of the stream.
Oh,
Shit, I
by
would
the
love
way.
to do. I would love to do a. Let's fix a bad something. Like, let's fix a bad movie. Let's fix a bad a woke story. Let's fix a bad show.
Okay, so basically, let's do some verbal screenwriting.
Yes.
We can do that.
Shit.
I'm down.
Yeah. Pen on day and time, I'm definitely in.
Saturday after work for me would be about 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, around this time.
Yeah, just give me a holler, man.
Dude, by the way, next week, or this coming Saturday, I'm going to have Chaos Eve on my channel.
I'll
She's
be listening
cool.
in, but I work.
We'll be talking nerd.
Oh yeah, I'll most likely be in the chat. If anything, it all depends on what's going on.
Well, like I said,
I'll
you always got
definitely
an invite.
Yeah.
So,
But on that,
we're going to be talking
Be off
nerd.
for a change.
You
And
want to talk
would
nerd
you-
with us?
Talking what?
Nerd. Because she
I love
actually
to talk
LARPs.
I
She
love to talk
LARPs.
nerd.
So,
Shit.
yeah.
oh yeah, Chaos
I'm gonna let
Eve.
her-
Go ahead.
I'm going to let her just walk me through some LARPing because I've tabletopped. I've never LARPed.
You never LARPed.
Never LARPed.
Heresy.
Do you consider Renaissance Fair LARPing?
It is.
Yes.
It really is.
It technically is. It's a medieval cosplay
Yep.
It's
slash
LARP.
LARPing.
Guess what?
Hmm?
I do
What?
that.
I would like to go to a Ren Fair once.
I would love to go to a
I heard they
restaurant.
have good orgies.
Well, I don't think Angela would let you join the orgy.
I know.
See, I just want to go to another anime convention again. I went to one back in 2008 and had a fucking blast.
I go to one every year because I work it. All I do is shit talk and play video games. It is heaven.
Well, apparently I didn't realize it, but I got proposition. It's like apparently I didn't realize it till later, like usual. But I'm still 90% positive I got propositioned for sex by a chick in an elevator.
Dude, if you get proposition for sex with a chick in the elevator, you fuck the chick in the elevator.
Pretty sure I've explained this when it comes to a lot of those things. I'm what's
He
known
doesn't
as
know until later.
I'm romantically
Don't worry,
retarded.
Yeah.
But on that, we're gonna wrap up with me being romantically retarded.
Okay.
And that. So I hope you all have a good night, have a good week, since it is technically Monday. Hopefully you recoup your sleep from the hour lost because of daylight savings. I still think they should just do it by a half hour in half-hour increments. We'll do it like 4 times. We'll go ahead a half hour, back a half hour, back a half hour.
Nope. But we jump for 8 hours.
Jump for 8 hours. But hope everyone has a good time, good day, good week. Tell your friends and family you love them, hate them. I don't know,
Yep.
whatever you're into. But I'm calling it here. Have a good one. We'll either be on something sometime. I gotta do something else. Gotta do some more talking to the void. Do some shit off that one. But hope everyone has a good one.